Boom, boom, boom. Welcome to another episode of The Climb. Hello, people. Today, it's going to be free talk. We did one last week. It was so successful, we decided to do another. But before we get into all that, let's talk about why we're doing this. This podcast is brought to you by the Digital Mastermind Group. What is the Digital Mastermind Group? It's a group of digital agencies, marketers, and technologists where we share tips, tricks, tools. It's a mentorship program, peer group. We do bi-weekly calls. There's a yearly meeting that is just really gnarly. So if you want to grow your agency and you want to really bring it up to the next level, go ahead and shoot me an email at jon@digitalmastermind.com, and feel free to check out the website. Pretty similar, digitalmastermind.com. So today, Dave, why don't you come out here? And what's your favorite thing about the DMG? I know you've talked about it a little bit before, other than meeting me, of course. What is Dave's favorite?
I mean, the networking is premium. There's not a better group to network and, meet people that are on the same, space, same place, same level as you. So, everybody gets invited to networking events, and the local ones sometimes are worth your while. I mean, you're meeting people that are selling printers and stuff like that. That's just not... The DMG is just all digital agencies, all owners. I mean, it's incredible. So the networking, both virtually and the in-person live one, is just awesome.
Some of the best salespeople I've met, they sold printers. They started in printer sales, copier sales, printers and knives, those Kinko knives, right? It's actually Sarah Blakely from Spanx. She started in, I think it was like selling fax machines, printers, and copier, repair. They just, Xerox and some of those other companies had a really solid model in doing that. I don't know if they still do. But today's free talk, so we can talk about whatever we want. I want to talk about recognition in some awards to start things off of. Because of the DMG where you and I met, we, of course, merged. And through a lot of our hard work, through a lot of our team's hard work, I should add, we were just voted one of the fastest growing companies in America, according to Inc. 5000. We placed 2,536. Got a client on there as well this year. We've had multiple clients in the past, and some previous clients run this year as well. But the important thing about awards, that some of these that you have to prove, of course, so there's a credentialing process where you're getting you're speaking with other professionals. They're comparing it to years of previous revenue, or maybe it's a contest based on like design that you do. These are super important for the agency and growth, because it's one of those small, like, little trust checkboxes that other people are going to look at, right? So it's twofold. It's not only that checkbox, but you also get some exposure and awareness, which those things are paramount if you want to continue to grow. So I think there's also a component to maximizing it, right? So let's say we just take the Inc. one. You're going to, they give you like a press release that you're going to send out that you can modify, and then they just try to, also a little behind the scenes, they try to sell the hell out of you when it comes to their logo. I think for the usage of that, we're going to pay like $1,500 a year. I think it's $1,500 a year we have to pay for that. And of course, you're going to get the little trophies. So there's a whole baked in component to that where they're going to make a ton of money. In fact, a little bit more transparency, every single award out there to some extent has that somebody else is benefiting from it. But on the flip side, you can benefit from it, and you can benefit from it based on the exposure and using that seal on your website. So these are pluses. So I recommend that every agency out there, and whether you do PR or not, this is on the PR side of things, and social and PR are getting a bit blended, but that's a topic for another show. Make a list of every single award that you can get. Ink should be on there depending on your revenue. If you're super strong at design, those can be in there. They have them for virtually everything. And also your local chambers of commerce. All of those are components of exposure that should be baked into your internal marketing processes, where every month, like, okay, well, what are the awards that we're applying for? Some of them they're relatively inexpensive. They're as low as like 40. Some are free. Like in Tampa Bay, we have the Best of the Bay, which is one. In fact, David, I put you on there as like best web developer. So you're actually on a list somewhere for that. Forgot to mention that. But so you have these lists. And then every month, just enter them and then continue applying. Nominate people for the 40 under 40, the best, CMO of the year. This should be a part of your own marketing plan and your own marketing process. Come on out, Dave. Let's talk.
Yeah. I mean, so I'm excited about, this Inc. 5000 recognition. I mean, we did the Jacksonville Business Journal Fast 50 last year. That was our first any kind of recognition. And it is interesting how these systems work, because at first I was like, whoa, this is incredible. I'm so excited about this. And then you kind of learn about it and you're like, all right, they're just trying to sell me a table at an award ceremony. I'm like, why is this table so expensive at an award ceremony that, I won? Why am I paying for this? So then I started learning.
It's true, but you still need to move forward with it. And I think that's the more, and this is weird, I've had this conversation with others, where the more that you learn about the world and marketing, the sadder it can become.
Yes, that's 100% accurate.
You just learn like everybody's angling. There's a profit made somewhere. It's just like nothing is as your childhood view of the world is. It's correct. Like, you get to see the dark side of everything.
That's exactly how I would describe it. But then to flip it on a positive note, what I decided to look at it as is, this is my fee to enter the next level world that, in business that you need to attain, right? Yeah. You do have to pay to play.
Yep.
And if you want to be able to say, hey, we're a Fast 50, like we are number 26, I think, fastest growing company in Northeast Florida. That's like 6 counties. That's pretty fucking impressive.
Yeah.
So if I got to pay $800 for a table to be able to brag about number 26 and then, number 2,536 for Inc. 500, then we got to do what we got to do. I just bought $1,000 worth of trophies for you and I for the Inc. 5000 because fuck it. It's my first Inc. 5000 award. I want something, and we're going to install it in the lobby so that every employee that comes in can see it because they earned it.
That's a good point. I didn't bring that up. I mean, the feel good morality side for our team, right? Because the reason that we got this, that's super important. The other side too, the recruiting component, and I guess that kind of goes into the exposure. But looking at the negative side, so everybody would always, when it comes to like the Oscars, there's a lot of campaigning that you have to do in marketing to make sure that a movie wins an Oscar, right?
Right.
And the same thing, if you want to grow, you have to fight tooth and nail in every way possible. And also because somebody's going to hear this and they're going to say, well, those awards, they're all, fake, or, they don't deserve it.
Those come from people that didn't win them.
Well, yeah, absolutely. Well, also, you don't win unless you apply. On the flip side of that, it's not really being kind to your prospects and your customers, because they want to say that, to their boss and their colleagues, I'm working with somebody that has achieved this, right? Also, to the prospects, when they're looking for companies, those are things that are going to make them feel more comfortable, right? It's like, all right, it's a reference from somebody, it's this certification seal. So those are the types of things that I think those are the real base reasons why it's smart for everybody to apply. And I love competition, so I want more competition.
Yeah, and I think I really like the way that they made you submit your tax returns. And I mean, we had to for the Jacksonville one, we had to work with an independent CPA firm.
Like a little light auditing.
Yeah. So I thought it was, so it's not just bullshit. Now I do have a problem with like this year's Inc. 5000. The first place is 46,000% growth.
Yeah, what are the numbers? Your numbers, guy. Like, what does that mean? Like, there's like that's what they had $1, and then the next year is.
And they bought a $25,000 company. I mean, we could do that? I guess. Should we launch an LLC that just makes nothing, and then Oyova will sell it to it? Or, what? We'll
buy, that's not a bad idea. Like, could we?
That way, we could just stay on the top every single year by just Oyova 2, Oyova 3.
Oh, they have? Don't they have to? Is there a minimum revenue number of like 2 million?
Yes.
You have to be okay. So there's 2 million. So at that point, because there was last year's company was 36,000% growth, right?
Yeah. It just feels a little ridiculous.
So what the hell is that? 36,000 times. That's 36,000. Or I'm sorry, that's 36,000. That'd be 360 times 2 million, wouldn't it? If we just start at the base level.
Well, 100% would be doubling.
Right.
So 36,000% would be doubling over 360 times.
Okay, but hold on a second. So the first year I don't believe the first year, we're totally just now unpacking this whole thing, just disintegrating the prestige we built it up to. But who cares? We're realists. All right. So just to apply for like the let's say 2019, you had to have at least 2 million, right?
Right. And 3 years. You have to have at least 3 years of existence.
But not $2 million for 3 years is what I'm getting.
No. Your final year, your most current year had to be over $2 million in revenue.
So like 2017, you did like $7. 2018, you did let's say like $1,000, and then you blow it out of the water and make $3 million the third year. Like that's essentially the potential growth that happened for the company that's number one, right?
Right. All right. It has to be. Or hits a major contract, or an acquisition is I would imagine the more realistic approach is that, you had a holding company that all of a sudden acquired a company, right? That's what I imagine these are.
Right. And it's not an average of the 3 years. It's literally just the growth rate.
So the JBJ is an average of the business journals across the country.
Right.
Are an average of your last 2 years, while the Inc. is a total jump from 3 years ago. So like ours was 161% growth from 2017, which means we more than doubled, which we did.
Yeah.
So it was great.
Yeah.
So yeah, different metrics for different awards, but I just think it goes back to the credentialing that you mentioned earlier. I mean, I'm going to name drop. Oh, we're an Inc. 5000 company now.
Yeah.
That's pretty damn awesome. Now the challenge is, can we do it again?
Do you know Frank Mardukas?
No.
Yeah. A little name drop in there. Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's actually from a movie. It's a thing that my brother always says. Anytime people name drop, he'll just throw that one in there. And hey, do you know Frank Mardukas? They're like, no. He's like, oh, okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. I love my brothers, but they can be pricks. Yeah. In any event, no, I didn't mean to sideline it there. The credentialing process, I think, is super important, but I think it's also now it creates a hunger internally where, all right, we want to win more, because there is nothing better. There's few things in life that are better, that feel better than winning, and this feels good, regardless of how shitty we may feel about the number one, doing the $1 and 1,000 and then 20 million or however they did it.
It's fine. I feel like our ranking is real.
Yeah, I agree. So more awards. So point here is get as many awards as you can. No matter how old you are or how young, there's a ton of awards that are out there, and I think it can be reinvigorating for your company. Best places to work. Oh, here's another thing. Oh,
right.
The best places to work one. So do you know anything about the best places to work ones?
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to do it, but I feel sleazy about asking our employees, be like, hey, it's,
exactly.
Because you have to ask your employees to rank.
They have to. So back in the day,
I know some companies that won that, and I'm like,
I know.
You do not have the best place to work.
Yeah,
I know your people. They look very sad.
Yeah. Well, there's some companies you're like, if you go to their glass door, you're like, that wouldn't be the same, right? But the way that these work, so the pay to play system with the best places, and there's some newspapers do them. There's a few other, and there's like favorite places to work, and no, they mix them all up. But in any event, the company,
we're a great place to work because we don't have a high turnover. That's the award that I look at right there.
Right. But still, I think this is something agencies can go after. We're not over 50. So most of the best places to work are typically over 50 employees. Yeah. So when it comes to that, I want to say there's a fee that's charged, and they go ahead and they send out an email blast to everybody, and you got to hit that minimum 50 number for you to be applied. And then they put you into different categories. Yeah. So 50 is a small company. Like 50 to 100, I think, or 50 to 100.
I know companies that are under that have earned that. So,
well, you can cheat it.
Be a minimum.
That's the thing. So you can say you have 50, create 50 email addresses, and bloat the system. I've heard of this happening. So, but in any event, those are. And I know back in the day, before I think they did the email method, there was another way that they did it. And I know somebody that worked at a company where literally their manager was like, yeah, I need you to fill this out right in front of me. So you're not going to tell your manager that it's a shitty company. The results from the individuals, though, are anonymous. But of course, on the aggregate, you have, I believe they might be able to see comments. I'm not sure. I know we've had some clients that have won best places to work or greatest places to work. I can't remember, but I think that's also that's a great award, especially when it comes to recruiting. And of course, some people are going to game it. There's going to be a few people that lie in there.
It's PR. That one is the most PR one.
I think that if I was looking for a job, is like that you go home and you tell your friends like, hey man, I got a best places to work thing. That's still that's on there, no matter how much people will hate on it.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think awards are great. I'm glad that there's people out there recognizing good work, good growth. And I mean, that's what we're here for, right?
Yeah.
That's like I told my brother-in-law, even though we're in our 40s, we're still chasing trophies. So
absolutely. Yeah. Trophies still feel good. And it's funny, before I, when you don't have any, this is agencies, let's say they don't have any awards. If you want to just, give you a competitive edge where let's say that you're at the table and the other side, like, oh, well, this is an award-winning agency. It might have been David Ogilvy or somebody. I don't know. Maybe this is something I made up. I'm just trying to attribute to somebody else. But I would say, when I was on the other side, when I just started, like, yeah, awards are for T-ball. Yeah, I'm not interested in winning awards. I'm interested in doing the best business that I possibly can for you. And that was a good sales point. They're like, yeah, sorry, yeah, screw those awards.
So I think we need to start doing a DMG Agency of the Year award.
That's a good idea.
And then at our physical, once a year meetup, we have a little ceremony right before dinner, or actually during dinner while we're all liquored up drinking. That's when we announce the DMG Agency of the Year award. And then make it fancy. And you know what? We're not even going to charge you for the trophy. We're gonna buy the trophy.
I like that. Yeah. So,
make it. I want somebody bragging that they are the DMG Agency of the Year award.
Yeah.
Like, that would be pretty awesome.
Yeah. And it's way over. I'm like, oh.
Every year. No, we won't be a part of it.
It's so terrible. No.
Yeah, we got a bunch of comments. I didn't even see this here.
Oh, man. Yeah. Uh-oh.
Yeah. Jennifer Denny saying it's all about making money off awards.
I love that. Absolutely. Get them, Jennifer.
And check this comment out.
Oh, boom. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah. I love the reality of the show. Thank you, Jennifer.
But that's the point of what we're doing here, right? We're just trying to open up the door to what we're doing on an agency weekly and say, So
what's this one that she got? The best rated advertising agencies in Indianapolis for that's what Jennifer Denny got.
Thebestrated.com. Let's check that out.
Yeah. Let's do that. Can we do screen shares on this thing?
We can.
Boom, boom, boom. Be careful what's on your screen. This is live.
For real, I'm a little nervous.
Oh man, I saw somebody some of the things on somebody's desktop the other day.
Yeah. Thebestrated.com, and then let me add my
All right. So I'll go ahead and fill the space with a little song I just wrote. Oh, thank God. Well, okay. Well, oh, it's
Well,
three best rated.
Oh, 3 best rated.
Yeah. Three best rated. Let's check this out. Boom, boom, boom. Focused on best, not most. Oh, all right. Some good messaging there. Dig that.
Is this just Indianapolis? No, they got them all.
There we go. All right, let's go after some of these. All right, what we got in Florida? That's we got Tampa. We just skipped it. Oh, we got St. Petersburg. All right.
Best lawyers. I mean, get some of our clients on there. Local services.
Boom, got something else in the Rolodex. But this goes exactly what I'm saying. So having a list of all of these and just continual applying, regardless. I mean, it's if you enter enough that you're going to win, and it's in everything. There's so many different awards because just like the one that we were just talking about, like Agency of the Year for DMG, there's so many of these different bodies that have some type of celebratory thing that they want to do. Chambers of commerce. There's just in the Tampa Bay area, I think there's 6 or 7 chambers of commerce that you can be a member of by just living in this multi-county area. So, and that's local. On the national side, you have the U.S. Chamber of Commerce, right?
Sure.
So potentially, awards there. If breweries, there's so many different types of brewery awards. And I believe the story is when speaking to awards, when it came down to the guy that created, what the hell is that vodka? Everybody thinks it was great for like 5 minutes, and then they're like, actually, it's a really shitty vodka. The White Goose.
Absolute.
No, Absolute actually really good vodka. Grey Goose. Yeah, Grey Goose.
The White Goose.
Yeah. Wannabe Swan.
Yeah.
Have you had Wannabe Swan? Grey Goose. But in any event, there was like a ton of awards there. The guy just literally was award, and that's what they started using in all their promotions. And that's the PR side of things as well as the advertising side of things. And that was a credentialer where people are like, oh, I can trust this. And then when you go and talk to somebody else, you're like, oh, this is award winning. This is my award winning vodka. Yeah,
because I bet you most people think that their palate is wrong.
Right.
Not, they're like, ooh, well, I just. It's my palate, it's just not refined.
Like, think about the kid when from high school, and that's that never ends, where it's just the newest and greatest thing, where it's like, all right, this is my band, or I got the newest sneakers. Well, that thing really never goes away in human nature. So it's have you tried this vodka? This is the best vodka.
Another viewer comment: Swans are awesome, John.
Oh, well, that's absolutely right. It's a little
tougher than you think.
This is free talk, so I guess I'll babble a little bit. There's something in the world that people will attribute, like spirit animals. Have you heard of this?
Yeah, of course.
Like Dave, yeah, your spirit animal is like what would you say? What animal do you identify with most? I don't have to complicate it.
Probably. Ooh, I don't know. I'll have to think about that. Go ahead. What's yours?
All right. Think about mine. So I don't have one. I was
honey badger. I'll go with honey badger.
You get honey badger. I love elephants, so I guess I think elephants. Because
I could steal it. How about a rhinoceros?
All right, there you go. All right, so we should get a little graphic. You and me, eagle. In the prairie, an eagle. There you go. Yeah, with your amazing eyesight.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway. Back to the spirit animal comment in the swans. So my wife worked at a yoga studio, and someone's like, "Oh, my spirit animal is a lion." That's a good one, Jennifer.
Yeah,
my wife worked at a yoga studio, and somebody's like, "Oh, my spirit animal is a swan," and it's nice until though you go to the north of Iceland, where in almost wintertime, end of fall, and it's really cold, right? You're freezing out there, and you look over in this, pond, or in the wind's like a hurricane force wind, and there's these badass swans. These aren't your normal swans. They look all beautiful and majestic, and this cold's not phasing them, and they're just tearing down and just ripping, things from the bottom of the pond and eating fish.
They're layered.
Yeah. That spirit animal thing, I was like, that's complete bullshit. It's like this, majestic kind of, that psychic feel to certain things. They don't really understand how badass that animal is. So anyway, it's a bit of a tangent.
It's like
swans are badass. Go get some awards. I just had to loop it in somehow.
Do we call the DMG award the Swan?
That'd be cool. I like it.
Black Swan Award.
Yeah. Well, the Black Swan, that's something that people are hating on, right? Before it, blossoms into something greater.
Right.
So just the Swan.
Okay.
It's the Swan. Did you get a swan? That's our award name. I like that.
It could be like a golden swan, the little golden egg underneath.
Oh, yeah.
It's the Golden Goose Award.
Yeah. But here's the other thing about a swan, right? To show how, I don't know why I know so much about swans, but so if you have like a geese problem, right? So there's, you can't get rid of them because they can be a pretty disastrous little animal, especially when it comes to like sidewalks and things like that.
Yeah.
Swan will scare away geese for, I think it's like acres. Like it's insane what a swan. Seriously, they're that badass because if there's a swan and there could be 100 geese. No, they're literally flying away because that swan is that feared.
All right.
I'm telling you, man. I know I'm going a little bit too crazy on this. Maybe
like somebody quick send me a photo of swan and geese playing with each other.
Yeah. Okay, you're right. So, and I think I don't even know if I've even looked these up. I think these are just conversations I've had with people talking about and building it up. So all that could be false, except for what I witnessed in the north of Iceland, watching that beautiful beast, tough it out when it was freezing cold and I was heavily layered up.
Nice.
All right. Ready to shift topics?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's talk about some outsourcing.
Okay.
All right. So we had a discussion with another agency this week, and part of their model is working with tons of other agencies. Anyway, so that's just some context of where this came from. So we looked at some of the other agencies that were in their portfolio, and we discovered that they were outsourcers, which we'll call offshore, right? So offshore outsourcing. So you and I had a discussion based on like how we feel about this and how agencies that use, outsource labor and what's going to happen, potentially to them, and then what that does to the local community. And you then mentioned something about the H1N1s and the slave labor thing. So that's I want to set up some of the context to talk about where we're at with this. So I want to get your opinions on it because I know you're a little bit passionate when it comes to this.
Yeah. So it starts with I think Trump just signed an executive order that limited the number or stopped the number of H-1B visas that Silicon Valley thrives off of. Now, these employees that come over with these special visas are basically tied to their sponsorship, because if they lose their sponsorship for this visa, boom, they're right back to their other country. So an employer can abuse the hell out of these people. And
how bad do they abuse them, though?
I mean, first of all, let's just start with pay. I mean, they're paid, I don't know what the specifics are, but probably like
Silicon Valley. Like, let's say a programmer can make anywhere from 150 to 400 a year, right?
Yeah, coming out of college, like a college-educated developer, I think I just read starts at 130 at the Silicon Valley. I mean, that sounds crazy to me. I'm like, whoa, that is so much money for a college with no experience.
Silicon Valley, where the cost of living,
correct? That's because they have to pay $8,000 a month for rent. So it's ridiculous. But they're dramatically paying less for the H-1B visas, and I've worked at a corporation that had a lot of these people that, and it was weird to me because it was a small town, but there was they all rented one house and just piled into it. And because they were sending all their money, back home to their families. And look, I am not against the worker. Like the person that's trying to do whatever they can to better their life for their family, more power to you. But I will say that we have plenty of talent here in America. And I think, my problem with Silicon Valley and these companies that are unwilling to pay the fair wage of a local candidate, it feels disingenuous to me. I mean, you're bringing in cheap labor to substitute for you having to pay for local Americans. And they say it's because there's not enough American tech workers. Universities are graduating STEM students like it's going out of style. Everybody has been saying for the last 20 years, go to STEM, engineering, computers, all that. They tell us what to do. So we have an entire generations coming out trained for these companies, and now they're telling us that there's not enough talent, but yet there's a million millennials out there that can't get a job with their degree. So one thing is not like the other. I mean, this is not matching up. So with that really frustrates me. And then I see these companies, and I looked at their profile on LinkedIn, and it just really pissed me off, to be honest with you, because 10 jobs in the United States versus 180 in India. And then they claim that they're this global connected company.
What's weird, though, is like you could say like you're technically not an American company.
Correct. They shouldn't be an American company. They're an Indian company. It's just all the profit goes to this one guy in America. Right. So that's the thing is, how does that make a healthy economy?
Was it called like Masters? Come on down to the Masters agency.
Yeah. Plantation agency.
Yeah, absolutely. Like that's
But it frustrates me, because how does that impact the local economy? All it does is it centralizes profits. So, and here's what's frustrating is that all these clients that they're getting are American companies. Mm-hmm. So these American companies are basically just funneling money to India, not impacting their local economies at all. So, I mean, and I'm not trying to preach a, protectionist,
You're doing a good job.
Well, I don't think people, when they look at tech, understand what it means. They just don't associate tech with buying local. They think buying local means, shopping at your local grocery store, and I get that, or your local small business. And I understand that. It's easy to grasp. But who you spend your money with in your IT services as well is also shopping local or spending.
It should be everything across the board. Yeah, it should be across the board. And that's what I'm saying. Somebody needs to be able to build some type of app that rates those types of things, right? Like you have, like, what is your carbon footprint? What is your local impact, right? Where you can see how that money is spent, because that guy shouldn't be considered an American company, right? So it's like, all right, you're global. You're global because you're hiring people in other places. You're not global because you're working with people in other places, right? So I think there's that, and also to that, I do want to jump back with the N1 argument has always been that we're going to get the best talent in this country because of that.
Your connection just went to shit, so all that was pretty much in. Couldn't hear any of that.
Moving forward, I'm going to have to pipe a line in. Then, this is getting unacceptable. But the saying is the argument for the H1N1 is it still shit? Are you kidding me?
No, it's kind of. I can hear it now.
All right. Like that'd be a great tactic to just shift conversation. Like, just no, can't hear you. Yeah, what's that? Yeah. But the H1N1, right? Visa.
Wait, H1N1 is the disease.
That's right. I had that in 2009. Right? Whatever.
That's the swine flu. Bird flu. Swine flu. Yeah. No, H1B.
H1B. What is it? I don't know. Who gives a shit what that stands for? All right. So the H1B, they've used that as a tactic to say, like, all right, well, we're pulling in the best talent based on having this, H1B, right?
Yeah.
Are there any measurements to these arguments, right? For instance, like you have the company that is using all of these. Well, if there's this glut of talent that we're all paying for through, scholarships and whatnot through these STEM programs, I don't know. I guess what I'm getting at is we should hold these companies accountable based on abusing the program that everybody here pays, especially the small business owners, which essentially our audience and all of us are.
To me, though, it's just about suppressing the value of the labor that already exists here and the job and the people that are ready to work here in this country already. So, why do you need to import someone to be a C# developer when you've got C# developers here that are out of business or that are out of work?
That's what I'm saying. But is there, if you have the people that are here, and you're going to make the claim of that's why you're using that, how do we not have some form of measurement to quantify that? That just seems ridiculous to me.
Right.
Like you literally claim that, oh, well, we don't have enough here. Like, it's like, well, what the fuck? Like, either A, you're stupid, or B, you're lying. Right?
They're lying, of course. And they've got the lobbyists to make it happen. I mean, the quota is 65,000 for 2019, but there is this exemption aspect that allows you to go way over it. And Google and Apple and Amazon just routinely apply for the exemption, so they fly right over their numbers, and nobody's there to stop it. And the government's getting their money from these companies, so that these politicians aren't going to stop it. I mean, that's why with Trump doing it, like I have a long history with this because my dad is a developer. This is why I'm a developer. But during the 1998 or whatever, he routinely was having his salary suppressed because of cheap foreign labor coming in. I mean, the IT market. So here's the crazy thing. In the 80s, when all the manufacturing was leaving this country, government said, don't worry, we don't want those manufacturing jobs. We want white-collar jobs that you're going to be retrained for. So my dad is a classic example of that, where he was a printing press operator, a manual labor type job, and then went back to school, become a developer, and then went into the job market. And the second he got into the developer job market, his job is already being outsourced. Like, they just outsourced manufacturing, and by the time he got retrained, they're already replacing him. And so I have seen over the last 20 years, and then I've been in the job market, and I've seen my salary suppressed or raises suppressed for the last 20 years because of cheaper labor or losing projects to people that outsource. I mean, it's frustrating when we have it here. And the bigger point though, look, if you're looking for the lowest price, great, outsource it. But if you want to post on Facebook that you're all about live, love, local, and community, and all that, but then you're sending your money to India to get the cheapest rate for your clients, then shit isn't matching up. You need to start understanding that love and local means do your business locally too, and hire people locally as well.
This sounds like this could be like the new movement, right? Because you have like BLM, and then you have like the local support, because it's essentially these are the jobs of brothers, sisters, fathers, mothers, obviously your father. So I think this is potentially something that's going to be out there. The interesting thing though is to compete, right? In a lot of respects, you have to do whatever you can do to beat out the next person. So
is it always about price?
Well, with the three companies you named, yeah. I mean, quality is a part of it, but yeah, price is a huge factor. They all are publicly traded. So they have to do as much as they can to give the largest dividend that they can to their shareholders.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really not talking about corporate America, because, I mean, all the bullshit stuff that they say about their
but people follow them, right?
Yeah, I know, but it's all horseshit. It's so, I mean, Apple probably spouts the most, happy-go-lucky mantra, but yet they...
Did you hear what Epic Games just did to him?
Yes.
I love that. That is just giving
it's the same thing of like when Nike decided to pull their shoes from Amazon. It's like you're getting
which they created slave labor side by sending all their shoes to sweatshops in Asia, which is total hypocrisy.
Oh God, the hypocrisy that we're hearing on so many levels, which is why I'm so focused on local right now. That's my big issue of 2020 is focus locally, because that's where we can make an impact. That's where Oyova can make an impact.
I did buy some New Balances last night. Yeah, because
did you?
Yeah, the majority of them are made. I think you're right, because I told you I got called out when I said that. Yeah.
So I think it's important, as long as, and like Erica called me on my shit yesterday because she ordered something from Lowe's, which again I still support buying a big brand.
Yeah.
What's that?
Home Depot's is way better than Lowe's, by the way. I wouldn't ship at Lowe's.
Either way, I still support shopping at a big corporate box, but go to the store, not online. Because if you buy it online, nobody locally gets credit for that. So that store manager doesn't get credit for that. The salesperson on the floor doesn't get credit for that. The region doesn't get credit for that. You're not helping anyone locally by buying it online. So she went to Lowe's to buy something, and it wasn't ideal. And I was like, why'd you do that? She was like, well, you're on this whole local thing, and I just thought we have to get on board. I'm like, only if you can't get it, or only if you can get it. If you can't get it, buy online, ship it out overseas, whatever you know, that's fine. But if you can get it locally, just drive 5 minutes
and buy used.
And do it.
But if you buy used, it helps keep it in our economy. A lot of people always forget that. If you need, if you want better roads, whatever, fill in the blank.
You want new parks. You want better, all that stuff. You want all that stuff? Well, keep your money in the local community as best you can. I mean, all the way up the chain, all the way up the supply chain with business. So, and we're in an economy where everything's outsourced, and I don't mean offshore. Just like your payroll is outsourced, your accounting is outsourced. Like there's so many.
The gig economy is a part of it, but that can help out, and I think it starts with getting more people to think on a national level, and then you can begin creating those concentric circles getting tighter and tighter, because I think people still have no problem buying everything for their house from like an IKEA or
like a Wayfair. But again, if you go to IKEA, you go to that store, you're supporting workers.
Yeah, to some extent, yeah. But what I'm saying is also on the product level, right? So if we want to take it like a step further, but now let's say that you buy something used, on Let Go, Craigslist, or one of those others that is from IKEA. That's the best way that you can support something that's local and keep money in your economy because it's already been distributed overseas based on the initial purchase.
Right. Well, that's for the green people out there. That's probably the lowest carbon, carbon footprint is buying a used table rather than a brand new IKEA table. But I don't like other people's stuff. So.
Really? Oh man, it's just send all that money to Sweden. Just send it all over there. Just give it to them. And I mean, for the most part, IKEA stuff sucks anyway. But now antiques, dude, you can get some really gnarly stuff, man.
Yeah. I mean, antiques, but if I don't know, with a brand new baby, I'm all
college kid dorm room thing that was a table that you had beer pong on, and
So before you derail this conversation,
I'm trying to.
You raised it. The H-1B visas are. I'm happy that they were shut down. I'm looking forward to a lot of recent college graduates that are struggling to get their shot, getting their shot, and I think that we're gonna hopefully see a trend of just rising costs for IT. I mean, I've mentioned this before, but why the hell is the plumber getting a higher labor rate than tech workers?
That's some really shitty work.
Huh?
Plumbing,
it doesn't matter. An electrician.
But let's back up. So when it comes to
auto mechanic.
Yeah, but those also have trades and unions that help, dictate price. Granted, whether those unions are dying or not. So that's which is a credentialing system through, like Journeyman, so on and so forth, right? Which I said about marketing and technology, anybody with a computer is instantly a competitor, right? So the barriers to entry are limited. You can't go and say, I'm going to be a plumber because you need a license, right? I'm not, but so it's essentially regulation there is a protector.
Right, but the people that you just mentioned that just have a laptop are only getting $25 an hour. So they're not even a seventh of what a plumber would get. So
either way,
so those aren't even really
barriers to entry are going to continually, have that impact with the e-lance or whatever the hell it's called now.
What?
E-lance or whatever the hell it is now. Like you have all of these systems, Upworks or whatever, where people can get on there from globalization, right? Yeah. And there's okay, cool. Fiverr, for instance, how many times have you heard like, oh, we'll just go on Fiverr and have that done?
Send that money out of your community, just
crowdsourcing. Also, with logos, I worked with a company last year and we're looking at just the plethora of the shitty logos that they had. And it's like, well, that's what 99 Designs had, that offered. Like they just gave up. Like they were willing to take shit because they paid their $200 and they got 1,000 logos and they just picked one of the shitty 2,000 logos they got.
So this is Jennifer's comment, and it's so true. There's a, it's because the consumer thinks we just switch buttons and magic. We do magic, but so there's a definitely. I mean,
real quick comment to that.
Today,
a buddy of mine, Paul
hold
Wilson,
on. Versus yesterday, 10 years ago versus.
Let's just keep.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, buddy. No, I insist now.
10 years ago, the education component of the consumer was so much more challenging than it is today. I mean, people today know a lot more of what it takes to do this and do it right. But there is a big part that we still need to continue to educate the consumer of like what it is we're doing. Like a thing that I like to say is we're working on your business. That's pretty important. This isn't like just your, spare bedroom sink. So the education component is definitely there. But what were you saying? I didn't hear any.
Yeah, no worries. And I think it's important to drive in those to point out the functions of what's delivered, right? But with the consumer things, switch a button and it just works. They think it's just like drive-through creative, or it's because we have such a conditioned audience, and then crowdsourcing and all these other disruptors that have come out have just made it worse, like the Groupons of the world. Like that, the dumbest thing that company ever made was not selling to Google for $500 million because they thought they had this, grandiose idea, which was super easy to replicate. But what that did is, like the delivery services for food, I don't know how we always get onto these, maybe because it's so current and fresh with us, is it just destroyed. There was no profit for anybody else but Groupon in that. So 50% of what you are going to take is going to go to that company, and then you have to offer a 50% discount. All that does is condition people to go to wherever Groupon's going to go, and it's not going to support the individual businesses. Well, it's the same thing with all these crowdsourcing places when it comes to logo or creative ideas. It's essentially the same thing where you're just taking all of these people that are just throwing shit up against the wall and hoping one thing is going to work. So it's a conditioned audience. I think education is a great way to get out of it, but also just getting better at what you do and aiming for a higher caliber of client. I remember when I first started my agency, speaking with another agency owner, and I said, he's like, well, what do you want to do? I was like, I want to help these small business owners because that's who my parents were. And I want to show them branding and marketing and what they can do so they can create a sustainable business so they can grow. That's really, one of the things that was near and dear to me. And it was so cold. He said, they're there for a reason. Yeah. Like, ooh, they are. They're there for a reason.
Let me ask you this. Do you think bigger brands, you said, aim for bigger clients. Do you think, what's your read on higher caliber clients? What's your read on their thought on local impact first? Do you think society as a whole is changing where local, like everybody, the shop local idea, is that in corporate America in a real way, not just PR?
No, I don't think it's in a real way at all. I think it's like recycling.
You think it's changing?
10 years ago. Yeah, I think it's changing. Yeah, but I think it's like recycling was 10 years ago. The only way people are recycling is if somebody's watching them. Right now, it's not a habit. So until people realize that it's their jobs, which I believe COVID might point that out to some degree, and there's things that can be reinforced here. But they still look to all the brands like Nike and the Apple and all of these others because those are such cultural influencers that it makes it really difficult. So I think something a little bit more drastic is going to happen.
Yeah, there's some things you can't replace locally. There's not a shoe cobbler in Jacksonville. I can't go buy a locally sourced shoe in Jacksonville, but
you can get high quality shoes that you repair and that last for 10 years that were made in America, like Allen Edmonds, right? It's going to cost you $300. You can have you can even buy those shoes used and have them redone, but those shoes will last you 20, 30 years or more.
And this we do have to factor in, socioeconomic factors. I mean, when you're well off, then you have the ability to pay a little bit more to make more of a local impact. If you're struggling, to pay your bills, you're going to Walmart to get the cheap Chinese stuff. But it's always the chicken and the egg. Like, are there more poor people because we've outsourced all the manufacturing jobs and they don't have a good quality, high quality job to work to pay the bills? So they need cheap Chinese stuff. Like, it's just, I don't know. But, I have the ability to spend a little bit more money to make sure that I'm making a local impact. And that has been my 2020. 2020 has been very transformational for me so far. Once this shit started going down with COVID, I was like, I want to be a better person coming out of this, because I know everyone's just going to use it as an excuse to get fat, right? So I was like, I want to be a better person.
I think that's the case. An excuse to get fat. COVID, here we come.
Yeah.
With my Happy Meal.
Once COVID showed up, everyone was like, yes, I can eat all the fried chicken I want. All the Publix fried chicken. So
it's good fried chicken.
So the local thing, I'm a local small business, and I want to live that life, and I can't do it if I'm just outsourcing every job we have to the cheapest foreign worker.
See, I don't think I'm super hyper local in that sense, but I am where I look at the nation side of things. And granted, it starts on that local level, but yeah, I try, my wife and I, to buy products, literally check, I'm doing the best to not buy anything from China. Granted, there's sometimes you got to settle where there's Thailand, right? So I was buying a golf club the other day. And all right, so I got one in Thailand over China. Everything in Nike was in China. I was like, I'm not doing that, right? But Thailand, they treat their people a little bit better there, right? So it's a humanitarian side. But treating people here, having better jobs, that's important, right? Whether it's in any industry, and if it's kind of goes to, if you have a stronger home base, the better. But bring this all the way back to agencies. There's agencies that we compete with that are 10 times us, that ship most of their work that are overseas, like the one that you mentioned.
Correct.
And it's fine, right? It's up to us if we want to compete at a level that we can execute, equal or better work, essentially at the same price. Because
what?
So no worries, but their margin is always going to be something that is detrimental to the growth, because if they're making a 75 to 80% margin, that's just a bigger war chest for them to do, better and stronger things.
Yeah, but it's all going to probably end up in selfish endeavors that don't impact the community, unless you have a yacht maker in your community.
Yeah,
I mean, look, I want to be able to look my team in the eyes at the Christmas party. Even if it's just down to that. If I've got 100 people in my company and I only can meet with 5 of them, something's wrong.
Yeah, well, I mean, and I think that could do a lot.
It's not for me.
Exactly. That's where I think the best thing is, right? Because it works for others. And
yeah, I mean, if I was purely profit motivated, then I would be shipping all the jobs out overseas. But
I guess the other thing too is where I look at, and it can be super appealing to ship a job overseas, right? Because in my experience, my career, every time I've been romantic or an idealist about something, it's almost never made me money. Right. So that's where it gets really attractive to do that, to make it hard. But no, I want to be able to tell somebody no, that's not something we do, because it is one of those feel good things where when I created the other agency, I literally wanted to create an agency that created jobs for internally as well as for our clients. Right. And then just meeting some others. It was kind of being in that room sometimes with other people, and they were like, yeah, you're just the romantic sitting in the corner. Like, everybody else is doing this, which is fine.
So,
need to find
one of our clients, Olympus Pools, or I give them a little shout out. I love working with them because they build pools that's local. And the better we do for them, the more business they get, the more people they have to hire locally. You can't import or, you can't export the construction of a pool. So I really love that. Like, I love when we work with those. And you said it earlier, like when we're working with essential companies, and I know a pool isn't essential, but
the hell it is. You stuck at your house.
During in Florida
lockdown. Yeah.
But I love working with companies like that because we're building jobs. We're building Florida. I love that. I'm proud of Jacksonville. This is the longest I've ever lived in one location. Like, this is where I started my family. Like, I've got my roots here, and I want to build it. I want to help it. I don't want to help Bangalore or even Mexico City or anyone. Like I don't want to build their economy. I want to make sure Jacksonville's strong, St. Pete's strong, Florida is strong, and then the Southeast, and then the country. Like that's my steps.
All right, you like this? I like this. So either way.
What's that?
So instead of you're talking about circles going out,
right.
I'm talking about circles coming in.
Okay.
Sorry, like if you get in the nation, right? Focus on things that happen in the nation. And then, of course, you can continually close those to build a stronger community rather than focusing on your local community and going outward.
Yeah, it's kind of like politics. Everybody wants to worry about who's the president. But if you don't know who the F your mayor is or your city council people, like it's all start local and build up, I think, because you make a bigger impact and you have a chance to make an impact when you're talking local. I
look at it like habit. I think it's easier to find something that is in your country first than it is to find something in your city. So if that's something like, okay, not China, this, okay, how do we go?
But if you search United States first, you might miss your local producer.
It's fine. I want to build a habit.
Okay. I mean, I would, I just search Jacksonville first and then move up from there.
How do people not have apps that do this shit? Like I
think we got to build it.
I think so. We keep talking about it.
Come up with some real snazzy name for some local deal hunter or something like that. Or what?
Locally.
Like
everybody has the trend? Bonusly, accountfully. Who we love. Brad over there.
Isn't that just a crazy trend? How marketing's working? Like 4 years ago. Every marketing agency was creating a logo out of a hexagon. I mean, have you seen that? Like, there's hexagon logos everywhere right now because for some reason it was trendy and like everybody copied everybody.
Like design trends and there will be like the annuals that come out and things.
Every time I see one, I'm like, another coaster. I instantly think that's not a logo that's going to last forever.
Yeah, well, websites too. How they dictate the shape of logos. They're all, for the most part, horizontal. Where they're back in the day, there used to be a lot of vertical logos, a lot more round logos. Got to
now the trend is just add an ly to a regular word, and boom, you've got an app.
Or IO if you want it to be automated, which I believe is real.
Drizzly is like the buy your liquor, shipped to you. There's a lot of just add LI locally. I'm sure that's already got to be taken. If it's not,
totally. But that's the joke. Yeah. But
hyper locally.
Yeah, hocally.
Local.hyper.
Just finish the show for the next 10 minutes. We just shout names at each other. Like, fuck this. But no, I think that needs to be. I think that needs to be built, and we need because we keep talking about it. I think that's something we should have some progress. But I at the end of the day, I think the takeaway here is for agencies is it's going to be an advantage sooner than later that somebody's going to say, this is my percentage of people I'm working with in this country. Right? That's going to be something, whether that's certified B, which also pisses me off. If certified B does not take that into account and their little 100% hippie credentialing system, that to me is not
100%.
Yeah, which is fine. I love, we got a lot of friends that own certified B companies, which I think is great. But if that's not one of the factors, I think that's unacceptable.
I 100% agree. But then, I don't know. So going back to the other idea, though, I think it's Honey is the browser app that finds the lowest price product. Deconstruct the concept of that, where it's going to find you the product that is the cheapest, which means it makes the least amount of impact in the economy.
But
it squeezes the margin so much
to the person, right? To the end user that may have just lost their job. They get a $300 a week stimulus check, and they're trying to feed 4 kids.
Sure, but
that Honey would be so sweet to them.
But if you follow that pattern, if everybody does that, then that's a death spiral to a failing economy. I mean, if you get to it on the economic level, if everyone purchases by price, then you will spiral into a dead economy.
It's complicated. I mean, we're getting into the economics because there's also a quality component that we're not taking into account, right?
No, because somebody struggling to feed 4 kids is not worried about quality. That's why ramen and SpaghettiOs is a thing.
Oof.
That's not quality food.
Oh, the blood pressure in that house. Man,
right?
Sodium. Up to a point, because you're only struggling up to a point. And we're getting, theoretical here, but right. So
sure.
you don't struggle forever. One of your kids invents something, or maybe you get a good job working for a company that supports American jobs and won the best company of the year award, also the Inc. 5000 award,
right.
based on their growing trend, and they're going to give you some profit share. So I think all those things that can happen. But why were we deconstructing this app again?
Just to kind of expose, like, the
race to the bottom.
Yeah, like that. We should be. I don't know. Almost like an app that says, here's the best margin for this rural town. It makes an impact. Like
I think it's based on. I think it's based on the factors you can see, where was it made, right, and how many jobs do they support, or what is the percentage of people that work in this country versus out of this country, right? And that should just be the seal there, right? So like how, I don't know, how red, white, and blue are you? Just to throw that out there, right? And that's essentially, there's some type of rating that applies to that. How local are you, right?
The Eagle Index.
Yeah, there you go, right? That's what played at the beginning of the Eagle Index report.
Right.
But I think those are the things that we're going to begin seeing, because that's going to be super top of mind here. And it's not divisional, right? Because it's not an us versus them. It's okay. But that's how that's always made to be.
That's how it's attacked. But
better put.
Yeah. That's why it's just so super focused to say, no, I want to support my local community. My local community is diverse as hell. I mean, we got everybody here, all kinds of, and I want to support them all. Like that's, it's not about making sure that, I take jobs away from India. I don't, no, I want to make sure I create jobs here. So it's a scarcity versus a what's the other half of that saying? The scarcity mindset versus
was abundance and scarcity.
Abundance.
Yeah.
Right.
Which it's a guy in India that do they live really, really well?
No.
Right. So that's, if you're doing that here and then you're sending that there, you're literally now just profiting on underpayment of labor, which, man, that doesn't feel good.
Right. That's that's what I'm getting at. Like, we're an agency that's going to put our foot in the sand and say, that's what's
going to make the movement, though. Where it's just like, you need to really look at yourself. Are you a shitty person? Right.
A lot of people are shitty people.
That's scarcity. That's
I don't want to say anyone's bad for outsourcing. It happened. I'm just saying that I don't want to hear somebody spouting about local.
You don't want hypocrisy.
I hate hypocrisy. So if you're going to spout about supporting your local, but then you're shipping your jobs overseas, then you're full of shit, and you don't care about local because you could be employing someone there that pays property taxes, that builds your schools, that builds your roads, and you're not. So
right. I hate hypocrisy too. And I said, like, not trying to cut you off there. It was just, we're talking about politics, talking about religion. Like, you have the guy that's screaming, about the Bible on the street corner with the sign and the bullhorn, calling people, whores and shaming and whatnot. And then you think, like, would that actually be something that Jesus would do? Like, really? Like, is that,
right.
It's just, to me, that's the hypocrisy. And it's just, those are the things that at one circumstance they can keep things interesting, but at the other, I think those are the things that create divisions and make the world not as great a place as it can be.
Yeah. Also, it just erodes everyone's confidence in the institutions where we're at right now. And talk, not to get political, but as a society, like nobody trusts shit about anyone now, like, or what anyone says. I mean, the CDC can say some shit, and half the country's like, "Nah, I don't believe it." That's because we've eroded, because so much hypocrisy has just consumed so much, it's like Apple, it's like Nike, running a social campaign with Colin Kaepernick, yet, using slave labor in China. It's like, God, you see that so much. Now we're just all numb to it. So it's
like you're so right, but you're so wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think, just bringing it down back to me personally is I got to live it. I can't just talk about it. I got to be about it. And that's my 2020 mantra. And that's saying I got from my brother-in-law. Be about it. Don't talk about it.
That's cool. All right. Yeah. My 2020 mantra is, John, just keep going, buddy. Just
get fat.
Just keep going. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, just keep going. That's
it, man. Like, I haven't had a vacation. I've just had to fight tooth and nail the entire year, but it's fine. It's just stay positive, keep going, help as many people as you possibly can, and just keep going, because that's what it's about. Just keep going.
Yeah. Locally.
And on that note, keep going locally. This has been fun. Thank you, everybody, especially Jennifer for chiming in. Really appreciate your comments. And check us out, digitalmastermind.com. Send me an email with any thoughts, figures, whatever it is that you want to talk about. Jon, Jon, at digitalmastermind.com. And I look forward to seeing y'all next time. Everybody.